Thanks for listening to our podcast, unMetered. As a member-owned, not-for-profit electric cooperative, our focus is on providing affordable, reliable, safe electricity and outstanding member service. One way that we're doing that is by providing more avenues of communication to you, our member. Through the podcast, we hope that you will be able to find some helpful hints, tips, and things to help you conserve energy, as well as some informational pieces that will help you understand what it means to be a member. Welcome to another episode of unMetered. Extremely excited to have everybody here.
We are extremely excited.
It's just kind of a constant thing. We kind of always are excited when we hear and get a chance to talk with our members, to interact with our members. Right. Of course, Josh this week is monitoring our live feed. So if you've got any questions or anything, you can type in. If we've got time, we'll try to get to some of those. Again, we are live on Facebook, and if you want to hear this podcast later, you can do so by downloading our podcast through the mobile app or through iTunes, Google Play. Yep. I feel like I should know where all these things are, but we're on so many different areas. In fact, there it is. Actually, you're able to see at the bottom of the screen now the different places that we are going to be located starting tomorrow afternoon. The podcast will come out tonight. So again, lots of ways to get a hold of this. If you've not subscribed to those, take the time and do that.
You should. And speaking of signing up for things, you should probably sign up for Sharing Change if you haven't yet.
It's a good one.
I'm getting there. I'm working my segues. Sharing Change. Easiest good thing you'll ever do. Just round your bill up. I mean, that's the easiest thing. That's the easiest way to talk about it. We talk about it every week. It's just round your bill up. Round your bill up. It's easy. The money stays in your local county, goes and helps a lot of organizations there. So do it. Give us a call, 877-777-9020. We can get you squared away there. Sign up. You can do it through your MyMTMC.
Yep.
Sign in through the web portal.
Well, and also the thing to remember with Sharing Change, again, as we talk about the fact that you're able to, it stays within your county. Right. Of course, anybody who's wanting to give to the Hurricane Irma relief efforts or Hurricane Harvey, make sure that you're doing that through a reputable source. Right. Especially if someone is calling you asking for your money, be sure to say, okay, I'll definitely check it out. Hang up and call that organization directly.
That's right. And just for a point of clarity, Sharing Change, we don't have the ability to take donations for hurricane relief efforts. If you're calling and wondering about that, we're going to refer you to some of the local agencies, like the Red Cross or, any of those agencies. So, Sharing Change, good stuff for locals. If you're looking for the hurricane stuff, it's just like you said.
And talking about the hurricane stuff, Hurricane Irma came through, and we were actually able to send some of our crews down to help.
We did.
We sent down 15 linemen and a mobile mechanic.
That's right.
Again, we never want to forget that we've got 16 guys down there. They're down there working hard.
That's right.
We hope that they are staying safe and continuing to work through. We actually had the mayor of one of the towns comment on our Facebook page.
That's right.
And just showing her appreciation for the work that they're doing down there.
That's right. We did hear back from them. They're very busy. As I'm sure you could imagine, crews are very busy, but we did hear back from them, and what they're dealing with, from what I understand, is a lot of wind-related outages. So basically, a lot of trees on lines, a lot of trees coming in contact with lines, broken poles because of trees. From what I understand, it's very similar to when we sent them down for Hurricane Matthew about this time last year. A lot of right-of-way issues,
right?
And Middle Tennessee Electric, that's one of the hardest jobs that we have, but one of the most important jobs that we have here at the cooperative is right-of-way. And vegetation management, and that's a perfect example of why it's important to have good, clear vegetation management in that whole area, just because you increase your reliability. And so our guys are down there working with that, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and what is another awesome thing is the fact that I realized that I didn't hit the right button. So if you're listening now, you're hearing the audio of us talking. So don't worry. We're still working our way through it. We've come up with some new things. And in the past month, but again, of course, this podcast is also being recorded. You'll be able to hear that first part just to catch you up on those that were watching but not listening and don't have the ability to read our lips at this particular angle. We talked about Sharing Change.
That's right.
Be sure to sign up for that through sharingchange.org. And we also talked about the fact that Hurricane Irma came through and we've got people down there. So again, there is, while
People
we
in
may
Georgia.
not,
They're in Georgia.
they're in Georgia. They're working hard. We also sent a crew down to Chattanooga,
We did.
out in Signal Mountain area.
Yeah.
And they were actually down there on, when was it?
Wednesday,
Tuesday,
Thursday.
Wednesday, somewhere in that range.
They got back actually late last night, so Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right.
Got back late last night, and so, but they were able to help out. I guess the area just got hammered pretty good with some wind, but just keep our guys and not only our folks, but all of the people that are working for rescue, but also working to help out. And after all the lights come back on, there's still a ton of cleanup to go on. So
there is.
Keep them all in your prayers. Ask if there's anything they can do. If you see some of these folks out and about, if for some reason, if you're watching this podcast from one of the areas that might have been affected, not only here in Tennessee, but if you with our long reach, if you're checking it out from another area, or somebody that's checking out, just tell them, hey, go out and give them a hello, give them a high five, tell them thanks, give them a bottle of water, and just tell them that you appreciate what they're doing. It's good stuff.
Well, and speaking of audio outages, and also of Hurricane Irma outages, we actually have our own way of reporting outages through either MyMTMC, through our phone systems, or of course, you can also do that online as well. Right. So there's 3 different ways you can report outages.
Right.
Very easy to do. The number for reporting outages, which is one of our favorite ways and has been one of our favorite ways now for years. In fact, is by calling 877-777-9111. And of course, the MyMTMC app has a button for you, so you can just hit that button.
And you can actually type in comments. I looked at it the other day. I didn't have an outage, but you can actually type in some comments in there. So you hear a loud bang, or there's heaven forbid an accident or something like that. You can be like, hey, car ran into a pole. Or if there was an instance yesterday, we just had some down lines.
Yep.
Let us know, because that way when we send the crews, they know exactly what they're getting into.
Well, and as a reminder for any down lines, be sure to stay away from them. If you see down lines, even if they're not sparking, if you anything like that, if you see a down line, step back, call 911. Obviously we are going to hear from 911 quickly. We'll be able to dispatch crews.
Right.
And then we'll also be able to make sure that things get turned off in such a way that's safe for everybody involved.
Consider any down line energized. Plain and simple. Mm-hmm. If it's down, it's energized. Talking about, the storms that rolled through, we got some wind up in the area. And it was kind of crazy. I was sitting in my living room, and, I got the ceiling fan going, but could hear the wind outside, and it got calm for a second. And then all of a sudden, it kind of got cold, and I was like, what in the world is going on? Well, it reminded me, it was like the perfect thing, man. I was like, I'm sitting there and I hear the wind blow again. I felt a breeze. I was like, that's not the ceiling fan. It's my windows. I got cracks around the windows. It's time to caulk the windows.
If you're feeling a breeze that far from your windows,
dude, I need some weather stripping and I need some caulking done.
You might need some window work done, and just in general,
it's not that bad. Well, I got a little gas fireplace too, so
but it does remind me of the fact that we do have some people that can talk to you about that in terms of their energy efficiency. They can come out and actually kind of give you a score on how energy efficient your home is.
That's right.
Josh, I think, would be on a 0.
I think at this rate. As a matter of fact, I think I owe them, the score.
There's not a negative scale, but Josh is definitely going to try to see if he can get on it.
I'm low. Hey, I'm making my own scale,
man. The idea on windows, and my windows are the same way, except mine, I don't necessarily get wind through them. However, I do get a lot of, I can see the effects of moisture coming through them, and that's something else that's an issue. And again, I've got to be aware of that to the point where I need to actually do something about it at this point, because I've been there for a few months, and I it's a new home, and I'm still fixing everything up, and this time of year, windows become a priority.
That's right. And this is the perfect time, because it's we're kind of out of the super hot weather. We're not quite into the super cold weather. So now is the time that you can actually get some good caulking on there, and just around the edges, and then weather strip your doors. Mm-hmm. I look at my front door, and every year I'm like, man, I got to add more weather stripping, because, the house settles and all this, that. But, you see that if you can see light through it, weather strip, you might want to replace your door.
Yeah.
But,
might need to check some other things. If your entire door has got cracks around it, there might be some other issues you got to look at. But again, there's a lot of things you can do to help the efficiency of your home.
That's right.
One thing that is a great tip, that's actually a hot weather tip, but kind of plays into this time of year is a lot of people have those leftover, what do you call it, the stuff you put on your windows? You talked about the other day, you were telling me.
Oh, yeah, the film, yeah. Yeah, man. Dude, I love that stuff. Okay, when I was younger, I always used to laugh at it. Who puts that stuff up there? Here I am. I go to Walmart and find that stuff on sale, and I pick up as many boxes as I can. That film, when it gets cold, that stuff is, I'm telling you, it is the way to go. You'll get some this year, I promise you.
It's a great, like I said, it's a great thing where, yes, this is more about energy efficiency, cold weather tips, but the truth is that you could save yourself a little bit of money by buying those stuff on clearance.
That's right.
Turning around and putting it back on in the spring.
That's right.
And save yourself money, and you're kind of saving coming and going.
Yeah, and with right now, because the weather is so nice, we've actually been able to take and open our windows, keep the ceiling fans going a little bit. Open the window on either side of the house, get that breeze going through. It's just, I don't put the plastic on probably for another month or so. Of course, if it keeps getting cold, I might change that, but
Well, and another very easy tip right now is your HVAC system.
That's right.
So because of the hot and cold nature of what's going on right now, you're getting a very high temperature swing. So for instance, right now, I actually turned my heat on last night because it was a little chilly.
It was not that cold.
It was chilly enough for me.
Get a blanket.
And so I had a blanket on, but I turned my heater on and I set it pretty low. I put it about 65 because again, that way the coldest it gets in the night, it'll kick on just a little bit, nothing too crazy. But during the day, my AC doesn't come on at all.
That's smart.
Instead of having my system set on off or something like that, like I said, at night, 4:00 in the morning, you're just absolutely cold and you've got blankets. That's great. But, most people, instead of setting it up higher,
it's smart.
Turn it down a little bit.
That's right. No, that's a smart thing to do. Ours, I think my AC right now is set pretty high, so it's not going to kick on.
Right.
But, you do what you got to do. You make it the way. And if your house is getting colder than 65 overnight, I'd probably turn it on too.
I've got some big trees around me, so it never really gets hot over there anymore.
Right.
But the other thing though to remember with this is that as we're going into this, don't turn on space heaters unless absolutely necessary, because a space heater can actually spend more money than having your HVAC system come on.
It's true.
In terms of a per area.
Right. And constantly running them is going to send your bill up. We hear when we get into the winter, and not so much right now because it's comfortable weather, but when we get into the winter, you start to hear about folks that are, that say my bill is high. I mean, we've just been running space heaters. That's why. I mean, it gets a lot. So, I mean, space heaters, they're great if you need them for short term, but running them consistently, it's going to send your bill up.
Well, and now is also a very good time to see, using the MyMTMC app, you'll actually be able to see your usage of how that drops. So, I mean, I'm pretty interested to see, because I remember, I turned on my heater here.
Right.
My AC has been off for a little while.
Yep.
I'm interested to see how much is my HVAC really using, because I've got an old system. Mine's 19 years old. I mean, it is old, okay? And of course, in HVAC years, that's like 170.
It's almost as old as you.
It's just
you may want to
close enough. But the reality there is that using the MyMTMC, you'll be able to see your usage data to be able to better understand how you're using your electricity, which again is a way to become more energy efficient.
Right. Yeah, there's lots of little tips and lots of little tricks that we have on the website, mtmc.com. Go check them out. One of my favorites, and it's easy and it's inexpensive, foam gaskets over your outlets. I didn't think they'd make a difference. They make a difference.
Well, I mean, if your windows are in the shape they are, I'm sure I'm curious to know what the walls are looking like here.
There's a spot there. I have one outlet that you could, when it was, I think it was a couple of years ago, you could feel, you could feel the air come through it. I was like, no.
Well, and in particular, those exterior walls.
Yep.
The interior walls aren't nearly as likely to do that unless you have some sort of a, if it's exterior, but underneath is like a garage or something like that.
Right.
Where, yes, there's probably a better chance of that. But the other thing also to be remembering is just because the temperature is cooling down doesn't mean that your air filter doesn't need to be replaced.
Man, change your air filter. Oh my goodness. A friend of mine he's an HVAC guy, and I saw a picture of someone's air filter, It wasn't mine. It was not mine, thankfully. But man, it just change them.
Especially if you have animals in the home,
Oh,
especially if
Yep.
you live in a high pollen area.
Yep.
Those that have gardens and things like that. Again,
Yep.
there's that kind of that late into the year one last allergy attack, which I feel like I'm going through right now.
Man,
but
I think I went through mine. But I'm telling you, when your air filter is not in good shape, your AC unit or your HVAC unit is working harder, and it's gonna send your bill up.
Yep.
All these things, and not only that, but it's going to tax your HVAC system. So
I don't think mine can be taxed any further than it has. So I probably should be changing it out every day if that's the case. But I have a dog in the home, and she has a tendency to shed. So of course that's getting sucked up in there.
Yep. Yeah, it's just change your HVAC system or change your filter. But now's a good time to get your HVAC inspected.
Yep.
Or to start thinking about that while it's still reasonable outside. So just real quick, weather stripping, caulking around your windows, change your filter, get your HVAC inspected, check out our website.
And bonus material, go find the clearance section of the window film for the summer.
Yes.
See, who knew that you could get such interesting and out of the box?
It's like $1. I mean, normally it's like $8. You catch it in December, you're done for, man. I hit it in the spring. I get as many boxes as I can carry. It's good.
It's all about the supply demand curve, I guess. But
that's right.
Again, like I said, we want to remember all of our guys that are out working in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma. Continue to send those encouraging thoughts to our guys as we have information. We'll pass it along to you guys as needed. And then, of course, we also want to remind you guys to download our app.
Yep.
You can go to iTunes. You can go to Google Play. You can download it there. You can also sign up for our podcast, which has the full audio version, not just because there's so many buttons here, and I'm learning. It's again, my apologies, but we got it fixed before someone said there's no audio.
Here's our goal: we have 4 more episodes before we hit a year. We're hoping to have him trained by then.
By trained, he means
pushing the right
buttons. So again, everybody says so easy a monkey can do it. Obviously, I'm failing on that approach, but. Again, be sure to tune in next week. We've got some great things that are coming up here soon, especially when it comes to October, because there's some great things going on in October.
Yep.
So a great some information on how you can actually win some gift cards with some pumpkins.
That's right.
So again,
that's right. That's coming.
It's like I said, be ready for that. A few dollars on a pumpkin can win you up to $50 in gift cards. So
it's good stuff.
like I said, tune in. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for being patient with us as we continue to work through it. So we'll see you next week, guys.
unMetered is brought to you by Middle Tennessee Electric.